Welcome back to Gutter Wisdom. For the past couple of episodes, Brittany Wittig and I have been wandering through one very strange corner of the internet. It's that place where sexuality, healing, spirituality, and self-development all get tossed into the same blender and somehow come out looking like enlightenment. This whole series started because Brittany kept getting the ick with posts and had her internal systems going absolutely the fuck not. But she couldn't explain why. She just knew that something was off. So naturally, she called Brooklyn's favorite buzzkill, me. We've been holding these ideas up to a light, like really dissecting them, critically thinking about what they're actually saying, all that good stuff. And real talk, I have no interest in telling you what to think. Or I have no interest in crowning myself some highfalutin high council of correct opinions. Righteousness is a slippery slope, y'all. But I wouldn't be living up to my daddy Frankie name if I didn't start training your ear and building that discernment muscle that the world has worked so hard to turn into fucking mush bags. If nobody teaches you how to question the packaging, it's really easy to mistake good marketing for good wisdom. Skirt! If you're just finding the show, I'd start with episode 10. Or, if you're feeling bold, all the way at the beginning. These conversations build on each other. If you've been hanging out with us since Jump, thanks for trusting us to get weird together. Today, we land that plane. Last episode, we looked at what happens when uncertainty gets dressed up as certainty. How formulas, rituals, and manifestation culture quietly promises that if you just become spiritual enough, embodied enough, healed enough, life will finally stop surprising you. Today's conversation zooms out. We're talking about Tantra, Polarity, sacred masculine, sacred feminine, and what happens when these ancient traditions get lifted out of their context. What happens when they get wrapped in aesthetic branding and then sold back to you as these personality traits. I'm not here to debate if those traditions have value. Duh, many of them absolutely do. This is way more about what happens when complexity and nuance and full spectrum gets flattened into content for 90-second reels, when lineage becomes branding, when devotion becomes performance, and when people stop listening to their own bodies, their own experiences, because they're too busy trying to play dress up in somebody else's archetype. So, let's lovingly ruin a few Instagram carousels, shall we?
That I would love. This is kind of broad, but Tantra. It's so funny. Before I invited you on to the first episode we did together, I had been wanting to bring on someone to speak about sexual healing, erotic energy. And I actually had a woman reach out to me who is a pretty big name from what I can tell in the Tantra community. And everything about it felt off. I kept sort of putting off the conversation about her coming on. I was like, why am I kind of avoiding this? And then I thought it was about me, but I actually did a deep dive through her stuff. And I was like, this just doesn't feel good. And I don't know why. And so I ended up just saying, I don't think it's a good fit. I'll wait till the right fit comes along. And then you came along and I had you on the show. But I would love to know Tantra in general. I've been told by many people, oh, you should get into Tantra. Tantra will help you heal. But I haven't seen anything where Tantra feels right or good to me. And I'm not sure why.
Yeah. And I need to own a little bit of my own shit too. A couple of years ago, I had tried on the title of Tantrika to help explain what I was actually doing in sacred spaces with my clients. And I think it lasted like less than 90 days. Like I didn't even get one full season. I was like, no, I don't know why it's not it. And I got rid of it. And so now I use like sexual shepherdess feels better for me. But also that just like listening of like, okay, I'm going to try this on because it's kind of what's alive in the culture right now. But it felt so icky and gross and I got rid of it. And then I really understood and discovered like, oh, this is why I went down my critical thinking rabbit hole and brought up some pearls. And so the harmful nature of the use of the word tantra is on a continuum.
Okay.
There's not like, it's not all intentionally awful and it's not always like innocently harmful. And so the piece that I'm going to touch into in this part of the conversation is like, where do some of the posts that you might see out there fall on this continuum?
Okay.
So at best, there are teachers, humans in the healing art space, those who have even like touched into these sacred sexual experiences and are searching for a word to describe what it is that they're doing.
Okay.
And in this modern culture, we kind of don't have a word to delineate between the sex that we know feels gross, like commodified, cheapened, porn informed. And I do love lots of porn, but like the really shit porn informed, like
Yeah.
we don't have a word to separate and delineate between that expression of sex and the sex that we know is deep, revelatory, sacred. And so the only word that this culture has to describe that differentiation is tantric sex.
Okay.
In truth, though, Tantra is a religion. Tantra is a religion.
Wow.
And so the use of the word Tantra is, I just got chills, deeply at its core appropriation.
Whoa. Okay. I didn't even realize Tantra was a religion. So,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yes. It is a religion. There are different sects, not sex. Sorry. This is going to be hard on you. Of Tantra as a religion. And it would be like saying, I pray every night. And so therefore I'm deepening into like a Christian ritual. There's just like a piece of it that feels ridiculous when you realize that you're taking one aspect of an ancient faith and then superimposing that onto this one expression of sexuality and saying that that's Tantra. But in truth, the religion as a whole is a deep walk of self-revelation, of destigmatization, of authenticity. There's lots of, I would say, like very taboo, out of the norm forms of initiation to go through Tantra. And so if you're interested of Tantra as a spiritual walk, great. Find the ancient teachings, find the people who are going to uphold, just like Christianity, they have almost like sacraments. You go through this process of deepening into that faith. It is true that sexuality is not vilified in that religion. So I just want to name that and say most of what you hear, I would say 99.9% of what you hear in terms of like tantric sex is really just the only word we've given to sexuality that is present, alive, without conscription, not vilified.
Yeah. Wow. That's fascinating. Just even that right there sheds some light on what probably on like an intuitive level doesn't feel quite right when I'm reading about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I I sense that with a lot of humans who are seeking to explore these realms, they just don't have a lot of options because the culture has said, this is what you call this thing. But there's a real shadow in colonialism of going to ancient traditions, taking a little piece of it, and then extracting it for profit, fame, whatever.
Yeah.
And so as we move on the continuum to like the most harmful use of that word, it's used as like a titillating marketing strategy for things that are have nothing to do with anything, actually. It's just now a marketing word. So some of the examples that we chatted about before even pressing the record button was like tantric speed dating was one of them. Yeah.
Whoa.
It's that one like I have a heaviness in my heart because the intentions of those spaces are seemingly pure, but they're so far out of their root. They're so ungrounded because of this use of the appropriation word.
Yeah.
Um, Another one I've come across was like there was a tantra nightclub. What the fuck is that? Right?
Yes. In
Is
Tulum, right? Yep. Yeah.
there was a tantric yacht week.
Oh, oh Lord.
So, I wanted to name this continuum because there is a part of the community that is just lost on language, and this feels like the only language that they have been allowed to use. And then all the way on the other side of this continuum is really capitalistic marketing strategies that are playing into the deep desires and thirsts to actually be aligned with something bigger than, you know, drinking and partying, whatever. So if I go to a tantra nightclub or a tantra yacht week or tantra speed dating, then maybe I'm more conscious, grounded, or whatever of a spiritual creature. And it's like you're really tugging on people in a way that is just this like sizzly. That's what I feel. I'm like, oh, we're going to put tantra, we're going to sizzle some tantra on this marketing strategy and then all of a sudden be able to charge double and
Yes.
create, pull in the Tulum crowd or the, that kind of a vibe of people who are just going to spend beaucoup dollars because it's marketed that way.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. I totally see that as you point this out. I've really never thought much about it.
So I'd love to like put an invitation out into the world. Some of the words that I've chosen to use through my own like, okay, what am I actually doing here then? Because I don't want to use that word tantra. I
Right?
don't want to use that word. Um, Erotic mystic. Mystic is not tethered to one specific ancient religion. That has felt really great for me. And using the word erotic mystic also narrows in on the sort of energy that I use in order to reach mystic states. Sexual shepherdess as opposed to tantrika has felt really good for me. I am naming that I am guiding people in the
Yeah.
sexual terrain without appropriating that word. Um, Yeah, those are the one divine dominatrix, obviously, because I'm just like, yeah, I'm not just hitting anybody. We're doing some like deep energy work here.
Yes. I mean, I love just the invitation to get creative in describing this without using appropriated language. Yeah, without appropriating a religion. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And those terms are very clear. Like everything you just said. I mean, it's very clear. It really indicates what you're doing.
Yeah. I have noticed that people searching for Tantra have come and like kind of fallen on my doorstep accidentally and have spoken. This feels so much more true than what I was learning in this class, in that class. And I'm like, say more, say more. So what I've noticed about even the schools or courses or anything that are teaching Tantra because they have no other word to use for it, but it's really like sacred sexuality. There's lots of ways that if you haven't done your shadow work around appropriating ancient cultures, you probably haven't done your shadow work around the gender binary, around colonialism, around capitalism. And that seeps into how they hold the container. It really isn't always like the words that are used, but the energy underneath, the person holding the teachings, the person holding the staff. And so this whole conversation for me, when we started, I was like, harm reduction, learn discernment, finding a guide or a shepherdess in these realms is really important because you are traveling into like a deep, dark cave that's scary and you can like fall down an underground river and die. So it's important to just like get your lamp, your headlamp,
Yeah.
look at the map. Oh, where am I walking now? And just to like avoid a lot of the pain that can be experienced. And please be really discerning. If something doesn't feel good, if something doesn't feel true, then drop it. One of the big ones that doesn't feel true for a lot of people are the gender binary. And I hear around like polarities, the masculine pole and the feminine pole. And I deconstruct this in my school a lot, where this is just repackaged gender conscriptions that have been given like sacred words. So sometimes in these, for example, in the Tantra speeding, because I did go to it because I was like, oh no, I'm going to experiment. I'm going to see what's happening here. There was this invitation for everyone who was assigned male at birth and conditioned as a man to hold up the quote masculine pole, whatever the fuck that means. The women or those who were assigned female at birth, conditioned as women, to hold the feminine pole, whatever the fuck that means. What it was doing was perpetuating this narrative of like, man, strong, I hold things. And female, fluid, I flow into things. And I was like, what is going on here? This is just oppression repackaged, and it's not allowing for everyone to show up as their authentic self. So what I see in the quote Tantra community is that there is a right way and a wrong way. There is a higher order sexual expression and a lower order sexual expression. There is a high frequency, high vibe sex, low vibe sex. And I'm here to say there is full circle. Nothing wrong with your authentic, erotic expression, period.
Ooh, yes. Yes. So you touched on something there also that has come up for me, and we don't have to go too deep into it, but I have definitely seen in the spiritual world very often, I have seen this sort of destructive definition of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And this thing, you especially see this with like in the relationship and sexual realms of the spiritual world, where it's like the divine feminine is all about receiving and the divine masculine is about protection and action. And there's this like perpetuation of patriarchy that I'm like, oh, what? It's not, I don't think this is actually supposed to apply to genders in the body. These are just like energies that exist in everything, right?
Yep. Like, spoiler, yes. Let's go back to the tree because, God, the tree is just one of the greatest teachers.
Yes.
Is the tree any more masculine when it blooms versus when it receives the water from the roots, or any more feminine? I mean, gender is such a construct. This whole and masculine and feminine energies are very, that languaging is confusing because the collective has not unlearned gender.
Right.
Has not done work as gender as a construct. So even if those masculine and feminine terminology translates to receiving and doing, because we haven't deconstructed gender, we then impose those energetics onto gendered identities. False. It's just one big false movement. The tree is just as receptive as a sheep, whatever, as it is activating. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yes. Right. Yeah, that's something that it always gives me the ickies when I see posts about make sure that your divine masculine partner gets to live his divine masculine by taking charge and protecting the relationship. And it's like, oh, please, no, let's not. Oh.
I'm ready for polarity to not be a thing anymore because it comes up in sex, intimacy, and relating coaches' Instagram posts all the time. That probably could have been another one that we really dive into.
Yeah.
It comes up a lot, that narrative of polarity. And in all of my work with particularly humans who have been assigned male at birth, conditioned as men, they are so thirsty to be in a surrendered state. And what the entire framework of polarity does is robs them from their opportunity to use sexuality, intimacy, relating as the place where they can play in safety of surrender. They are never allowed to be in full surrender out in the world, right? They always got to have it together. They always have to know what's next. They always have to uphold all of these things. And so it was interesting after that tantric speed dating experience I had, that event actually flowed into a temple night. So a group play party. And I offered into the space ANR, which is adult nursing relationship. So where someone is able to be in my lap, latch onto my breast, and just be held in this soft receiving space. I want to tell you, I should have had a sign-up sheet, because that's how many humans with penises assigned male at birth that were told to uphold the masculine pole in that event wanted to just be held.
Wow. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Well, that feels like a good place to leave this little truth serum series for now. If you've listened to all 3 conversations, I hope one thing is becoming a little clearer for you. Discernment isn't about being cynical. Discernment is all about intimacy with your own experience. Period. My goal was never to convince you that Brittany and I have all the answers. That would be so weird and honestly, really cringe. My prayer was that the next time somebody hands you a shiny new framework, or promises they've finally cracked a code to life, or tells you there's one correct way to embody your sexuality, that your system's alarm bells get to the answer before your insecurity does. Your body has been collecting data a whole lot longer than the Instagram algorithm has. That is worth trusting. Before you head out, I implore you, go take the Engineering Hotness Quiz. There's a lot of loud advice out there about healthy intimacy and what it's supposed to look like, right? But intimacy ain't IKEA. It ain't IKEA furniture. You don't build it by following someone else's instruction manual and hoping you didn't lose a tiny Allen key wrench halfway through. The quiz helps you understand the conditions your own system actually needs to create sexy, sustainable connection. You can find it at priestessfrancesca.com/quiz. As for what's next, we're leaving this little corner of the internet for now. But don't you worry. There's no shortage of bullshit waiting patiently for us elsewhere. Until next time, keep your mind in the gutter, y'all. You'd be surprised with what you find in the dark.